Today, I will talk about the differences between Italian and American university systems and how, in a sense, the historical and cultural background had an impact on these systems. First of all, I have to say that when I was invited to deliver this talk, I was very thrilled and I immediately said yes. But then I started to panic a little bit, and I was like asking myself, Daria, you are Italian, you have an accent, and you are a very worthy person. So while I was in my office trying to figure out how to explain to you the differences and the characteristics of the Italian university system in just 7 minutes, I needed a coffee. So I went down to to one of the cafes that are on campus, and my attention was attracted by a couple of students that were protesting against university student loans. They were raising this banner saying that apparently in the US, if you want to go to college, you have to keep in mind that you're going to have a debt of at least $30,000. This is a lot of money, not just for you, especially from my perspective as Italian, because it's something that we don't understand. Because if we go to university in Italy, most of the times you're going to go to a public university. And our system, like a good quality education, comes from public universities. We have 63 public universities in Italy. So just to give you an idea how much an Italian student has to pay in order to go to college. First, when we finish our high school, we are 19 years old. So we go to college 1 year later compared to the US and the rest of Europe. And you don't just go to college, you decide your major, what is known as facoltà. So actually, you don't take GE classes, it's just like taking all the classes that is just for your major. So what you do is, for example, you want to be a doctor, so you decide to go to med school. Or you want to be a philosopher, you go to philosophy, and the amount of money, the tuition that you're going to pay is going to be related to the kind of major that you get. For sure, STEMs are more expensive than humanities, and it's also proportional to your family income. So let's say you go to University of Rome, La Sapienza, that is one of the biggest universities in Europe. You're going to pay, and you come from a wealthy family, and you go to med school, you're going to pay at least $4,000 per year, per 6 years. So not a lot of money compared to what you have to pay in the US. But why you have to pay so much? When I went back to my office, I started to do some research. I read a couple of articles, and they were all saying that apparently in the last 40 years, after the baby boom, there was a rise of students going to college, and for sure the tuition and consequently also the loans are rising at a constant rate. So unfortunately in the future nothing's going to change. And this is a consequence of what? Of the fact that universities are investing a lot in first administration. In order to compete with other universities and attract students, what they do, they just offer and spend money on unnecessary and luxury perks. And for sure, there is also the problem of the loss of public funding. So going back to Italy, and especially from my perspective, this is something that is saying that the university system, higher education, is still a privilege. And by quoting Noam Chomsky, a university system in the US is based on a business model. So we don't have that in the US, in Italy, sorry. And we are more anyone can go to university. The university is more affordable. But for sure, this is something that happened after something. There is an historical moment in which there was a change in our system. Because the situation now is related to what my father, my mother did in the 60s. Because in Italy, after a Second World War, with the economic miracle, there was a rise of students going to university. But the university in the 60s was not ready for that. It was stuck in all a system. There were most of the professors were just professional that they had to teach 52 hours per year. So they had there was a lot of absenteeism. Most of the students have to teach by themselves, and most of the students have to take oral exams. And so it's not very objective to give you a grade if it's an oral exam. So after this protest in '68, students protesting to have more a voice to control the curriculum, to control the grades, there was a change. And for example, now anyone can go to university despite the kind of high school that you took. Because in the past, just people who were going to a specific kind of high school, liceo, could go to university. But now anyone can go. Unfortunately, there are things that didn't change. So if you want to have a good experience, like the real Italian experience, so you go study abroad to Italy, you're going to have basically just oral exams. And this is scary because professor is going there in his office, maybe open a book, asking a bunch of questions, and he is the one that has just the last word. And the exams can be in front of anyone. They are public. Also, your mom can be there, and that is scary. So the situation in Italy, professors are like God. So if you go to Italy, most of the time, you have oral exams and you have lecture-based classes. So not like here in the US. That is good. You have a relationship with your professor. There is an osmotic exchange of intellectual discourse. So this is good. So to sum up, this is something that you don't have to change because it's important. But if you want to make a change, you have to raise your voice. Because like our father did, also your fathers did, your parents did in the 60s, think about the civil rights movements. Because only in this way you can have, in my opinion, a more affordable higher education that is open to anyone and is just a right and not more a privilege. Thank you.